Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. I figured I'd, make a video because it's almost that time of year again, the time of year when we're all expected to be around family. So I figured we could use a little video. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about kind of the spiritual effects of narcissistic abuse. And, when I first discovered that term, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, I didn't actually realize it was going to become like such a prevalent topic in pop psychology. So it's actually a very serious kind of abuse because it's targeted towards the person's weaknesses to exploit them and to make them doubt themselves. But it's also targeted to their strengths to make them think that their strengths are actually weaknesses. So, a lot of people have kind of commented like, oh, what happened to you with your like boyfriend or husband, whatever, blah, blah. Okay, I've never actually dated a narcissist. This is just based on my family and my upbringing. So that's how I relate to this topic, just to be clear. So, as far as healing from narcissistic abuse, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not like physical abuse where the bruises will go away within a few weeks, or mental abuse where maybe it can be helped with like cognitive behavioral therapy. But narcissistic abuse is different because it happens on a spiritual level. It happens with actually very I would say, I don't want to say advanced, but it happens with very perceptive dark souls who have sort of taken on feeding off of other people's energy as like a way of life. And a lot of the times they've been doing this a lot longer than just this life, so they're really good at it. So the reason that it doesn't happen overnight is because the narcissists break you down over time. They pick apart pieces. Over time, you sort of lose pieces of yourself. You lose a piece here, you lose a piece there, you lose pieces everywhere. Maybe they steal a few, which I've talked about in other videos. But then one day you wake up and you're like, I don't remember who I used to be anymore, or who I ever was. If it happened as a child, you may feel like you have some memories of who you once were as a child, but now you don't even know who you are at all anymore. And, the reason they do this, if it happened in the family, is because they want you to be dependent on them for the rest of your life. They don't want you to feel confident enough to have your own life. They don't want you to feel like you're lovable so you don't find a partner. They don't want you to feel like you're likable so you don't have any friends, so you have to depend on them the rest of your life. A similar thing may happen in partnerships, but I would not know anything about that as far as that being narcissistic abuse. Because I think if, not everyone who goes into a narcissistically abusive relationship or partnership has been narcissistically abused as a child. So the fact that someone could be this evil and this sadistic will come as a shock. Whereas someone who's been through it in childhood may be a lot more guarded because they know how evil people can be, but also if they're sort of in denial about it or they haven't healed, they could still attract like similar kinds of partners, depending on what the narcissist wanted them to believe to become more controllable. So the narcissist will break you down into smaller and smaller pieces over time, and as you are taking on pieces of their soul and they're stealing pieces of your soul, like I talk about in the other video, you start to feel like you've become like almost evil, and you look at them and you're like, why do they seem so much happier, more energetic, so much more creative, more sociable, more charismatic? Why do they seem like so many, or more interesting, more excitable? Why do they seem like all these things that I used to be? And now over time it's like you've become like this like pessimistic, anxious, depressed, fatigued, maybe even like kind of mean, like just like snarky, kind of defensive, really angry person. And you're like, what happened to the person I used to be? It seems like they've become me and I've become them. So that's a big part of this. That's a big part of this topic. So this kind of healing where it's not just emotional abuse. It's not just physical abuse. It's the breakdown of your willpower and of your spirit, and it makes you doubt who you are. So that's the kind of insidiousness of this abuse, is they sort of spin people into themselves, where it's like up is down and down is up, and good is evil and evil is good, and it's like you almost like your mind almost like fractures if you're unlucky, or if you don't understand what's happening, can't escape, etc. There's lots of reasons why, but part of the things that I found that helped me on my journey is that it may seem, especially if you grew up in this dynamic, it may seem like all other people are kind of out to get you and everyone wants to kind of like see you suffer, but that's not true, because I've found that the universe does work for our highest good. We just can't always see it right away. So you may be able to see it in this life, you may not, but if you're watching this video, I think that you can, because you're trying and not everyone tries. So even if you can't trust any other like physical human beings, you can always trust the universe, and the angels are on your side, because we live in a loving universe where everything we go through is here to make us stronger. It's not meant to break us. So you always have people looking out for you. You always have something bigger looking out for you. So if you can have faith in that and keep moving forward, knowing that you're not going backwards and that you're always growing and that you're always working on healing yourself, things will become a lot easier, because then the pressure of like, oh no, how much longer until I just like accept that I'm a narcissist, you can just let go of that pressure, because that's not what you're moving towards. The other thing about narcissistic abuse is that it's a breakdown of your spirit over time, but it's also a breakdown of the mind. So the mind, the unconscious, the conscious, it starts to merge. So there's a reason for this. If we want to look at it on a micro level, the reason is because that's how the narcissist gets their supply, is by breaking down those energetic barriers that separate you from everything else, separate your conscious mind from the unconscious mind. It wants to break down these barriers so that it has an unlimited access of energy. It's almost like in the Matrix, when the people in like the tubes who are just like living in a mind simulation, they're plugged in. They're plugged in to the systems that siphon that energy and use them as human batteries. That's what the narcissist is doing. It's breaking down all your defenses on every level so that it can just like plug right in and just siphon that energy and use it for its own evil agenda or purposes. So, but if we want to look at it on a higher level, then we can see that maybe we came into this life having a lot of issues that we weren't aware of, and maybe it was our job in this life to heal ourselves of those issues. So without this intense like breakdown process, or it's like a roller coaster versus driving on an incline. When you're driving on an incline, going slowly up a mountain, you're not going to realize you're slowly going up. You sort of like, it just becomes harder to make the car, you're giving the car gas, but it might not be moving as fast. That might be the only difference you're picking up. But if you're going up a roller coaster and you're like, whoop, and you just shoot down, that's a really big impact. It's trying to wake you up. It's trying to let you know, like, you have to face this. You have to face these issues. You have to face yourself so you can, like, almost blossom. You have to face those demons so that they're not haunting you. So there's two different ways to look at it. I choose to always look at everything as, whether or not I understand why yet, it's always so I can become stronger. Or, if I'm having a bad day, at the very least, I can see it as, without the narcissistic abuse, I would not have been made aware of all of these soul pieces I have scattered all over, whether they're stuck in the timelines of past lives. So that would be like something fragmenting in a past life and then not retrieving it before I die and cross over. Or it's stuck in other people from this life, or other people that I've met in this life, but they have soul pieces from a past life. So I wouldn't have become aware of all these things because there would have been no reason for it. So now, my goal is to heal on a deeper level than just this life, so that I don't have to keep reliving these patterns and carrying baggage that's not mine, and I can also take back my soul pieces and my energy from other people who it doesn't belong to, and that maybe sort of holding on to it as like a trophy or as a piece of energy that they try to consistently get energy from. So that's kind of what these really dark souls do, is because they don't have pieces of their own soul, they've chosen to steal pieces from other people and then to get energy off of that, but it's never enough because it's not their own soul. So they're always looking for more. They always need more. They always need a new person to abuse. They always need a new person to steal from, or a new person to give to them. They always need more. It's why it's like a black hole. So I hope this made sense, and I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving. If you have any comments, just leave them below, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.